Hi, William. How are you? So,
Hi, Sanjay. I'm very good, thank you. And you?
and and thank you. I'm absolutely fine, William. And thank you very much for agreeing for this particular conversation. And
With
firstly, let me congratulate you on accepting the volunteering position as a global community ambassador. And I consider this to be my honor to talk to two, I mean, me myself being a volunteer global community ambassador, talking to my fellow global community ambassador. I think it's an honor and a privilege. So thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
with big pleasure, Sanjay.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, William, to start with, here's something that I always get intrigued, and there is a story behind every person who has embraced coaching.
Yes.
So, if you can highlight the people who are going to watch this particular podcast as to what made William become a coach and embrace this particular profession. So, I would be very happy to listen to your story.
That's a lovely question. Thanks, Sanjay. Um, to start off with, I studied in the UK and I'm Dutch myself. And after the my UK studies, I became a human resources manager and then afterwards a human resources director. And at some point I thought, my God, what am I doing here? In the sense that everything was so much targeted to, let's say, the resources, and the human side was definitely not in there. And at some point, I thought this is not aligned with my values. This is not what I want to do. And I think growing our human capital, so to say, sustainable human capital is really, really important. So what I decided to do is to leave the country. And I went to France, and this is where I started, if you like, I started my own business in consulting and helping businesses who really had issues with, if you like, HR, but in this sense, the human side. I got deeply, deeply passionate by that, and I've always been anyway. But anyway, this really was a sort of eye opener for me, where I thought, yes, this is what I want to do. And so I set up a, let's say, consulting training. And then afterwards, I thought, okay, consulting and training is really interesting, but we're giving information to people. We're not actually pushing people to think and to find their own answers. And it's like I always compare it to like taking off, the sort of the handbrake as if you're driving a car. I think it's really important to help people to take that handbrake off and actually go into almost automatic pilot. And so I did a coaching course. I absolutely loved it, and then I thought, okay, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. So we changed our business from we still do a little bit of training, and then we got into the coaching. And every year I keep on training myself because there's so much we can learn as coaches. I also specialize afterwards in neuroplasticity and neuroscience, which is a really great tool as well to as an add-on, I would say, in coaching. There you go. That's my in a nutshell, my how I got to coaching.
Brilliant, brilliant. And if there are lots of things that intrigued me in what you said. Your values were challenged, and you gave up your job. That was a big step.
Yeah.
Move to France, get into uh, bringing up the human capital,
Yes.
and learning and development was pushing information on people, and then eventually getting into coaching. And your metaphor of handbrake was wonderful, that
Thank you.
removing the handbrake and let the car move with ease. And,
Yes.
and handbrake, we all, I think, have our handbrakes on certain things.
Absolutely.
Uh, and the fear of removing the handbrake is what I think you help the people in achieving.
Yes.
Because everybody on their own has to remove their own designed handbrakes.
Absolutely.
I think you removed your handbrake by moving to France and starting your own business and doing what you believed aligned with your values and principles. So
Totally
brilliant,
agree.
brilliant. I think a fantastic analogy. And contrary to what you did, I think, or perhaps I think complementing with what you did, I'm a trained marine engineer, and
Yes.
I started my journey on merchant ships. in 1985 and continue to sail on ships. So anywhere in the world where we have water, I have been to that place.
Yes.
And that's why I stuck with you in the first place, because you being a Dutchman, and I stayed in Amsterdam for quite some time,
Indeed.
because
Yeah.
in the canals we had these small ships running and we had those ships on our management. So somehow I was there. Uh, in 95, I stopped sailing, and I took charge of the office, and
Hmm.
I took more responsibilities where I had to manage ships from ashore.
Yeah.
And being from the Merchant Navy, I mean, slightly driven, I thought, I mean, I started taking reins of my company, senior reins of the company, and grew the company from 7 ships to around 150 ships.
Yeah.
But one thing I was very particular about, that the human resources department in my company reported to me, because I always believed that it's the people who make the company.
Yes.
And I thought that if I have to grow my company in the right direction, I must handpick the people uh, that I select.
Yes.
And imagine asking 10,000 people, tell me something about yourself,
Yeah.
and selecting 10,000 people. So I asked this question to around 20,000 people. So 20,000 people told me something about themselves to me. And that was a lot of information, I tell you.
Yes.
So
I can
I
imagine.
was a committed ship manager, as I would call it, for almost 30, 35 years. And as luck would have it, in 2014, when I was owning my own shipping company or a ship management company, uh, somehow an American huge company showed interest in buying 50% of our company.
Yeah.
And when they bought 50% of the company, and they said, Sanjay, good, you're doing a fantastic job of controlling this company. But there is a policy that we follow, that every person who controls over 250 people, and I was controlling over 2,500, must integrate coaching into their leadership. I said, what is this coaching all about? And that's when I embarked on the journey of coaching. And I did this program, which was ICF approved.
Hmm.
And I tell you, it was an eye opener.
Yeah.
The entire concept of laying a foundation for yourself to change your behavior, and behavior being only what is visible to people, to change your behavior, to change what lies under the water in the
Yes.
iceberg,
Yep.
is what got addressed. And
Uh,
I loved what I did.
yes.
And I said, okay, I mean, I can do one on one coaching, I can help people to become coaches and create careers for them. But I said, if in corporate cultures, if we can integrate coaching into corporate cultures,
Yes.
where people start interacting as coaches with each other, see how beautiful a company can become. So that propelled me to start a company around it. And then I invested in myself. I got all my certifications done, went to ICF, got some programs approved by them. And I am now passionately involved in coaching. And the best thing that I feel now, I don't say I am changing lives.
Yes.
I talk
Yeah.
to people, and every coaching conversation, the beauty, William, I realized was that I get more insights than my client.
Yes.
I get more insights because I see a person using his, as you correctly pointed out, removing his own handbrake, finding his own potential,
Yes.
and resolving his own issues.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
only acting as his external eyes and ears and carrying a mirror, showing him, my friend, this is what you're telling me.
Yes.
And when you watch so many things, the person who changes is the coach himself. So when I realize that every coaching conversation, every cohort that I conduct, I uh, land up being a change person after every endeavor in coaching.
Yes.
So it was a phenomenal experience so far. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel that I'm committed. And I see that you are also committed, and that's the reason why we got together. I'm
Absolutely.
committed to a realization that I think everybody, when I talk
Yes.
about corporate cultures, from a office boy to the president of the company,
Yeah.
if everybody adopts partially also foundations of coaching and adapts to the behavior, I think the companies and the corporations would function very, very well.
Absolutely.
So
And
that's who I am, and that's what got me to coaching.
that's fantastic. It's one of the things, I very often say, Sanjay, when I'm doing either coaching sessions in businesses or, face to face as well as, if you like, private conversations as well, let's say one to one, is people who perform best, they really feel good about themselves. And I think if we as a coach, we can get the best out of them, but they have to feel it themselves. If they're happy in what they do, this is where they get stimulated, and this is where people start performing better. And it's so important. And one of the questions, very interesting actually. Now you're talking about this because this reminds me of a someone I coached, a CEO of a company, quite a big company actually. And I said to the guy, what would you do differently if your pay was only based in making feel people good and hence they get better results? And
Brilliant.
that was like
Brilliant.
like a dead silence. And he said, well, hmm,
Okay.
maybe yes, there are quite a few things I would change. But I think it's so important. We as a coach, yes, we have this sort of we can step back, can't we? And it's so interesting to actually integrate that sort of very slowly and opening up their eyes. And this is why if you like, I love neuroplasticity so much as well for us as coaches, because I think it really gives you that sort of deeper understanding um, of what our coaches are doing well. And it helps us as a coach to become more precise, more confident, and possibly have more consistency. And instead of thinking, for example, my client is blocked. This is when I started as a coach, but which I might have thought is I'm now more thinking, okay, something in the nervous system is protecting something, which helps me, if you like, to shift my presence in being less fixed, more curious, more patient, more attuned, and you can really feel when you do that, when you really try to understand what are the beliefs under that specific behavior, that you and I as a coach, we become calmer, but so does our client.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just is absolutely brilliant. And sort of inviting your clients to experiment little things, to embody that practice, and to reflect, if you like, on that lived experience really um, changes people, and the brain changes through experience. I always say, not understanding.
Oh, yeah.
It's that sort of
Oh, yeah.
repetitive movement in neuroplasticity, which really helps.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
totally agree with you. And to just compliment with what you just said,
yeah,
I mean, this is my theory. I mean, the largest percentage of our brain
yeah,
is utilized to keep us alive,
yeah.
right? I mean, our kidneys should function well, our heart should pump at the rate. If we have done something wrong, brain will correct it ourselves. The second largest portion is used to um, keep our old habits or our memories in store, because our reactions to stimuli would be from that stored memory of
Yes.
all the yesteryears. So that is perhaps the reason we say that the older we get, it's more difficult to learn new things. A very small part of our brain is available to capture the triggers that are happening around us
Hmm.
And actually, I think the coach captures those small parts of the brain. And that's where I think your neuroplasticity comes, or the explanation of neuroplasticity comes. How do we capture, how do we utilize that prefrontal cortex?
Yeah.
And a very small part, how do we convert it? So, I think the people who will listen to this would be very intrigued with the idea of how does neuroplasticity actually help a coach and his client or a coachee
Yeah.
to understand
Yeah.
what neuroplasticity is,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how do you think it actually helps you in coaching, the knowledge of neuroplasticity?
Yeah. That's a really nice question. Thanks. First of all, I think I hear many people when we talk about the brain, and they always say like, oh, well, the brain, is there to help us to think and so on and so on. In fact, no. The only reason why we have a brain, if I exaggerate a little bit, is to keep us safe.
Absolutely.
And to give you an example, maybe as you say, yes, if we link this to coaching, if we think about change, people don't like change. And it's not because the people don't like change. Our brain resists to change because our brain doesn't like losing control, doing something new. So if we really, if you like, in neuroplasticity, and when I use this in coaching, for example, what I try to do is to get to really dig into, first of all, okay, what is happening? I call it the reaction. But your reaction stems from an emotion. And the emotion really shows our behavior, so to say. But then again, when people tell me about their emotions, I try to say, okay, but what was the thought that triggered that emotion? Because an emotion is only it's the wiring firing pattern. The emotion comes from a particular thought. So getting people to understand what the underlying thought is, if you like, is not always easy. But once they actually get it and they actually can say, well, this is what I was thinking about, this is what triggered something off. Then what I try to do is to go a little bit deeper and try to say, okay, well, this thought triggered this off, but what is the belief behind it? And if you really go deep down to the belief, this is where we can change a lot of things and things become easier. And the way we're not going to go maybe too deep in neuroplasticity, if you like. This is more a sort of general talk. But what I really liked what you said as well, it's about ownership. Okay, if we stop trying to control our brain. And it's like in creativity. If you keep on focusing on a couple of things, we can't be creative because our mind is non-stop thinking about the same thing, and you can't be creative. It is when you let go, and then um, change can happen. So what I often say to my fellow coaches, if you like, is I'm trying to, or even to my coachee, is or very often I tell them, stop trying to motivate and instead focus on psychological safety. What are the choices they have? Pay attention to what's going on and explore. So don't push change, as I say to my to my clients, is host change.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Don't push change, host change.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And honestly, I from my understanding of neuroplasticity, I feel that it is directly connected to an optimism that
Absolutely.
we can change, even though a very small percentage of brain is available to allow a change. But the positive news that neuroplasticity brings to the subject of coaching is yes, we can change.
Absolutely.
So the belief that I can change And the validation and the confirmation is a very positive thought for a person to become more attentive.
Absolutely.
And if
Well,
the coach,
well, I love what
yeah,
you're saying, Sanjay, by the way, is yes, all of us, we can change.
yeah, yeah,
And if you compare that, for example, um, maybe two comparisons. One is to me neuroplasticity. Imagine a wood, and there are lots and lots of um, how can I say, lots of leaves in that wood. So it's there's a big path, but it's a sort of an empty path. And the more you walk that path, the more that path becomes clear.
yeah,
And
yeah,
this is where we create in our, if you like, in a very simple way. This is in our brain where we create this sort of, yes, I've been there before. So it becomes like a sort of habit, sort of ritual. And the more we walk that path, the more our brain becomes relaxed by saying, ah, I've seen this before. This is okay. So I don't need to control that situation.
yeah, yeah,
And if you like, what I would say is that sort of repeated neural pathways, this is what I call it, sort of walking on that sort of path. So those repeated neural pathways are shaped by experience. And it really helps to work, if you like, on limiting patterns, on emotional triggers, on automatic behaviors. And I often say, you no longer challenge beliefs intellectually, but you help your clients to create new experience that soften, if you like, the old wiring.
yeah, yeah.
And what I loved as well, because what you said, it sort of triggered something up as well in my head. It's you could compare it to riding a bike. In the beginning, we couldn't.
Huh?
Our
Absolutely.
brain had to adapt, and what do we need to do? It's like driving a car. It
Yeah.
takes time, but little by little, those if you like, that sort of neural pathway becomes more and more used to it, and it becomes automatic afterwards. So
And
yes, as you say,
yeah,
Sanjay, you're very right. We can all change at any age.
absolutely. And I apply, being from a science background, I apply Newton's laws to change.
Yeah.
And the first law is the body will continue to be in a state of rest unless it is applied by an imbalanced force. So that imbalanced force to overcome the inertia is the positivity and the optimism that neuroplasticity says, yes, you can change.
Yes.
And once you
Absolutely.
start moving, then the second law applies that the movement will happen. All you have to do is apply a little bit of direction, the momentum will continue. So once a person starting of a change has always been difficult. Triggers happen. You
Yeah.
get emotionally charged listening to a good guitarist, you want to become a good guitarist.
Yes.
Listening to somebody speak very well, you want to speak like that person. But next day, you get back to your original self.
Yes.
But to, change again, I mean, filling up a form for a gym membership,
Yep.
easy thing to do. You fill it up, and the resistance of the body
Yes.
uh, to accept a change.
Yep.
The entire body will go on strike.
Yeah.
Uh, when you go to the gym for the third day, and it'll say, okay, you're paining here, you're paining there, and it'll try to stop you in whatever way possible. And that's where I feel that first, I think the step, and I think neuroplasticity is a fantastic tool to initiate that, is to believe that, yes, I can change, and firmly believe that I can change.
Yeah.
Once you believe that you can change, then once you start changing, I think it's an addiction. Then you
Absolutely.
enjoy the change. Then you enjoy
Abs-
the change, and then you don't stop changing. And
Absolutely.
and if you succeed in the first change that you applied for, then you try other things in life.
Exactly.
And the more and more things you try, one belief that gets into your own mind is, I can change my entire personality. I can learn so many things.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
talking about a little bit of time management of this, that whenever somebody says that, okay, will you try out this thing? I don't have the time. That's the first excuse that they give.
Yes.
But remember the days when we used to do our homework and our friends used to play down below? We would scribble on our paper and, do whatever is possible and try to pass time doing our homeworks in school. But the moment our mother said, okay, your friends have come, our homework would be done within 15 minutes and we are done.
Yes.
So, for time management, I believe that if you don't have passion towards a particular change, you will keep doing the same thing for the time allotted to you
Absolutely.
and call yourself very busy. But the moment a good change occupies a small space in your life, automatically it expands into your life and you do other things as well as the change that you've adapted to.
Absolutely.
Right. So, yeah, so I believe neuroplasticity is a fantastic tool. And William, I believe that you are into a lot of coaching tools, etc. Yeah. So, can you elaborate a little bit on these tools? How do you make these tools helpful to the existing coaches across the globe? Because that message of yours would be very helpful to the coaches who would listen to
Yeah.
uh, our conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. It's interesting. Um, when I started off, so we created this platform which is called mycoachingtoolkit.com. And it exists, by the way, in Dutch, in German, in Spanish, and in French. And one of the things I've always believed in, if you like, is that you don't, as a coach, we don't change clients. The only thing we can do is to create conditions for their brains to change. So if you want to create conditions, good conditions for the brains to change, there are many different, I would say, openings or different ways of approaching that. And that can be through games, that can be through ebooks, for example, we've created in which you will find very practical, first a bit of theory and then lots of practical exercises. And all the exercises have been developed, if you like, to make, to create conditions in which people, we as a coach, we can apply them, but also that our coachees feel, interesting, this is new, but this is something I feel safe to do. So what we do, if you like, with my coaching toolkit, we have created, for example, games. We have created ebooks. We have created, my gosh, what we call printables. There's so many products. The printables are very simple, if you like, um, pages people can print and they can use it in the coaching sessions. We also have trainings, which is an absolute delight to work with you with as well as a partner in I would say India and the whole region. We also are creating podcasts. So what we want to do, I remember when I started as a coach, but actually quite a little bit later actually, because we as a coach, we are, let's say, our own tool, and all of us are different, and we use ourselves differently, which is good. But I think it's interesting and very useful to also have to have some help from outside.
Yeah.
And I think about around 10 years ago, I was looking on the internet for games, for tools, and so on and so on. And what I found extremely annoying is that you can find stuff, of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's scattered everywhere over the websites or over the internet, if you like.
Yeah.
And I came across this website at the time where they had lots and lots and lots of stuff all together. And I thought, wow, Eureka, this is brilliant. This is what I want to, this is where I would like to buy some stuff. And I bought this company from the person who started it in France in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And we're now expanding it and expanding it. And I think one of the things why this works so well as well is not only because we create conditions for the brain, if you like, in the games, but we also work with partners. So lots of people from ICF, some other people for EMCC. So what we do is we invite coaches such as you. This is why we're working together as well, Sanjay, who have brilliant ideas, who have tested things. And that can be lots of different things. It can be a specific journaling for coaches, for example. It can be the games, it can be ebooks, whatever. Every coach, I think, has brilliant material in the mind and food for thought. And the lovely thing about my coaching toolkit is that we are now attracting lots of people, lots of coaches who say, hey, but I've done this. I've created this. And so we all welcome them, if you like, into our, I call it my community and my coaching toolkit community. So what we do is we talk together like we did. What sort of stuff have we got? What sort of material do you think is useful for coaches? Because we've been there as a coach and we've tested it. And then we market all the materials for the coaches, and we obviously pay them author rights. And I have to admit, and Sanjay, it's an absolute joy because this community of coaches where we have so many ideas, where we spark off ideas, to me is something absolutely mind-boggling and stimulating. Every day I go to work and go like, wow, what a job. This is fantastic.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. I mean, you look forward to the next day because you've got something new in store
Yes,
all the time. Because even if you're working with a particular client, every day in a client's life is different.
yes,
And if a coach is committed to learning from the conversations he has with the clients, uh, see how learned a person. I mean, you, William, are a fantastic reflection of a person once compromising his values
hmm
while working perhaps way back, and then looking forward today
hmm
after embracing coaching. Now you look forward to the next day as to, wow, what is there in store? So, this transformation, which I observed just during our conversation, is amazing. And people who are watching you can take this as an inspiration that you need not be a coach if only you embrace a coaching behavior or a coaching pattern of thoughts or the curiosity of a coach, a
yeah,
mindset of curiosity of a coach, then your life is bound to be exciting all the time.
yeah, yeah,
Because William,
absolutely.
I there's something very interesting that I believe in, that whatever I am today and whatever you are today, whether we are successful, unsuccessful, that's our perception.
Yes,
But in the eyes of a lot of people, we may be successful. In our eyes, maybe we want to succeed. We've got some steps planned for ourselves.
yeah,
So it's relative. But whatever we are today, I think it is one credit we can give is to our power of observation.
yeah,
We observed from today, I'm learning from you, but as a child, I learned from my friends, my teachers, and the more and more I observed and learned,
yeah,
there were few things I filtered them away, few things that aligned with my thought process, I adopted to them, and the result is me who's talking to you.
yes,
As a coach, we get trained to start listening with our eyes. We listen with our eyes because spoken words may not be 100% true. What the body speaks is it speaks far more than the spoken words. So once
absolutely.
we tune ourselves to listen with our eyes, learn the structure of coaching, create a curious mindset, and see now we have become trained to make better observations.
Absolutely.
So unknowingly, whatever we did, we were results of an unstructured pattern of trial and error, and we reached the position wherever we reached. But as coaches, if we adapt to that mindset of curiosity and understanding that whatever we are and whatever we are going to be, it's going to be with that enhanced power of curiosity and enhanced power of observations. And with
Absolutely.
these two things, we understand and we adapt, see how beautiful our lives can be. And we can, I think, just, adapting to the mindset of curiosity,
Yeah.
is good enough for you to be a learned person on an ongoing basis as a process of evolution. You
Absolutely.
evolve as a different person.
Yes.
Because with the mindset of curiosity, even, I always believe one thing, and this I always say, that a gain of $1 million or a loss of $1 million is at the end of a conversation. And if your conversation, you are very curious, you are concerned about what the other person wants, what he's saying, you observe his body language, there is always a possibility that you may land up gaining that $1 million rather than losing it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
brilliant. Brilliant. So, William, while we are on the subject, we both are now global community ambassadors, and we've got some duties to be fulfilled for on behalf of ICF because we volunteered this particular position.
Yes.
What according to you would be, say, two or three things that you would like to share with one, people who want to embrace coaching as a career, and two, people whom we think should adapt to the power of curiosity and the power of observation and adapt to a behavior of a coach and move forward. So, what are the three or two messages that you would like to give to them?
So the messages I would like to give to people who would like to become a coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really, really nice question. If I think if you are sincerely interested in accompanying a human being through change and help your client or your coachee to be really active because we make them active. Make them aware. I think that's one of the things. If you like that, then coaching is for you.
Brilliant.
Coaching is also for you a lot of learning about yourself. It's everyday learning, isn't it? And as you said earlier, Sanjay, yes, we learn from our coachees. Um, People reflect things back to us. So it also means having a very open mind and being capable of saying, why am I reacting this way? So to me, it's an eternal sort of learning journey. I don't see it as a job. I see it as yeah, for me, it's a passion and helping people forward. What is there more beautiful to do?
Yeah. I love the word, the learning journey. And I think the more learning journey is applicable to the coach who's coaching, uh, the coachee and the client benefit from the way you conduct your conversation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's brilliant. I mean, the learning journey for the coach, people who are in the coaching or who want to become coaches or to who want to embrace this profession,
yeah.
they are going to get into a learning journey, which is going to be an happy learning journey, I would say, because you learn something about yourself and then you see a change in yourself. And when you
Yeah.
see a change in yourself, the only person who you can pat your back is yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I for one would like to add to this and say, the people who are existing coaches, I say congratulations to all of them. They're doing a fantastic job and they have embraced a beautiful career. I always believe that, most of the coaches that I have come across, because I've trained a lot of them, when they initially start their coaching careers, they believe that these core competencies laid down by ICF are a structure that we need to follow.
Hmm.
I tell them that it is not the structure that you follow, it is the tools that you use.
Yes.
You don't follow the structure, you use the tools. They are a natural behavior. The
Yeah.
core competencies of ICF, they don't tell you anything new. They just make a toolbox,
Yep.
put those tools in that particular box, and they give it to you. And they say, okay, use it and see how your conversations change and become result oriented, and they become positive,
Yes.
and people get realizations and insights just by virtue of a very simple conversation.
Yes.
And the people who don't want to embrace coaching and they want to continue doing what they're doing, I would say, of course, hire a coach if you want to, but I recommend very strongly that they should learn coaching,
Yeah.
because charity begins at home, William. If
Yes.
you can learn the art of coaching yourself, see how first you coach yourself by learning coaching. And then automatically, once that addiction is there, that you see yourself changing, then automatically you start coaching people around you, and how it transforms into a career as a coach. If I were to, summarize both our careers, I think we both are accidental coaches. We were doing something else and we accidentally became coaches. And okay, for me, it started as a company's policy. But once I took coaching, and the whole idea was to integrate coaching into my leadership.
Yeah.
But uh, just the start of integrating coaching into my leadership, I said, forget about leadership. If I just become a coach, leadership will just automatically flow from me.
Yes.
Because leadership is not something that you announce, it is a
Yeah.
position. And I personally believe that everybody is a leader because they lead their own self.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you lead yourself into something which is unknown or known, whatever. You are a leader of your own, and in your language, you're the leader of your own brain, and which
Absolutely.
controls your entire action and your behavior. And if you integrate coaching into your leadership, the first person who benefits is yourself,
Yes.
and the rest of
Yeah.
the people around you automatically benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would like to say to the fellow coaches, that people who want to embrace this career, they're more than welcome. It's a fantastic career to be in.
Yeah.
Two who don't want to embrace this into culture, this career, they can just experience coaching and see how their effective their life becomes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what I would like. Any final words, William, on before we close this particular podcast?
Well, maybe in one sentence, Sanjay, we talked about coaching and what is so great about is maybe this is not only okay. One of the things is what I find great about coaching is that it's helping people to reconnect with their own capacity to change.
Brilliant.
What more
Brilliant.
do we want?
Very well said. Very good alternative for maximizing personal and professional potential. Your words
Absolutely.
are very powerful and they complement very well with the ICF definition. For me, the final words would be that our entire education dollar has been invested in making ourselves eligible.
Yeah.
But what got us where we are is because we were suitable. We made ourselves suitable for the eligible position that we chose.
Yes.
We don't know where the suitability came from.
Yeah.
Coaching helps us to explore your suitabilities, and it takes you into the journey of unknown,
Yes.
which we fear. But when we get into it with an initiative of curiosity, discovering unknown is finding your new potential uh, and maximizing it later on. First, finding a new potential is the
Absolutely.
start of a change, according to me.
Absolutely.
Right,
Well
William?
said.
So
Yes.
it's such a wonderful 45 minutes spending with you. It's a wonderful chat that I had with you. A lot of discoveries, a lot of insights, very insightful conversation.
Yes.
And I would like to thank you for your time, for I know you are a very, very busy person, but pulling out these 40 minutes for talking to people
Yes,
about what we do and how happy we are,
exactly.
and how happy we are for doing what we do
Yes,
is is what I would like to share with people. If we are happy, why not make people happy around us?
absolutely.
So
Well
thank you
said.
very much for
Yeah.
that, William. Thank you very
Th-
much.
Thank you to you, Sanjay. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Right, right, William. So, with your permission, I think I will end this podcast now. Right?
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.